Hi guys, and welcome to our resting place, ASMR. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to stop by today. Before we begin, this video is not a binaural recording in any way, shape or form. We're simply using standard directional mic for this one. So thanks for bearing with us on that one. And secondly, I'd like to introduce Wolfmumma, who's here with us today. Wolfmumma, thank you so much for being here.
Yes. Thanks for having me again. This is becoming a regular occurrence. It's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So guys, as you might have seen by the title, today's wellness topics is going to be the focus of breakups. When a relationship comes to an end, maybe some tips or some advice that we have both been through at various points in our lives that we might be able to impart upon you, that might bring you some value. That's always the hope with every video I put out, that I'm able to bring you some value every day, and maybe some of these tips might help you not to have to go through some of the painful aspects of what a breakup is, maybe, or help you deal with those in a better way, possibly, than maybe what I personally went through in my life. So the subject of relationships and breakups is huge. I'm sure it's a multi-million-dollar industry in its own right. So today I'd like to just focus on maybe 3 or 4 points, and then if you want further insights, then just let us know in the form of a thumbs up in the comments below, or a comment, or just to let us know. That would be great. So I've broken the video up into 4 parts, speaking on avoidance, feelings of avoiding the painful feelings that come along with a breakup. I've wanted to speak on self-care as well, because that becomes a very high priority when you're going through a breakup. Communicating the way that you're feeling and where you're at after a breakup, and then focusing on the future, because there is a future even after this very difficult experience that you might be going through. So I've rambled on a little bit, and we're going to kick it off with the subject of avoidance. Now, what do I mean by avoidance? Well, put it simply, whenever we human beings are put in a circumstance where we have to deal with painful or unpleasurable thoughts, feelings and emotions, we try to avoid those things at all cost. For me, after breaking up with an old partner many years ago, one of my first breakups, I just wanted to avoid feeling unhappy, depressed, anxious, at a loss, and would end up just throwing myself into going out and partying all the time, which really takes a toll on your physical, mental, emotional headspace after a while. Wolfmumma, could I ask you your thoughts on avoidance a little bit, or if there's anything you'd like to share from your experience that can bring the viewer some value today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used to be very, very good at avoidance when I was younger, and particularly after a breakup. One of my patterns of behaviour would be to just do everything, just be really, really busy, go and see everybody, not stop to acknowledge how I was feeling, you know. Just I'd throw myself into everything, but then, you know, things start to catch up with you at some point, so it's not really very healthy. I'd end up being exhausted, and then, you know, that just kind of makes all of your feelings a lot bigger than they were before. So I used to be very, very good at that.
Very good at avoiding like the difficult thoughts, feelings and emotions that you were going through.
By doing, you know, throwing myself into a project, or just staying very ridiculously busy.
And there's almost nothing wrong with keeping yourself busy and keeping yourself focused, right?
That's sometimes a good thing to do, but, you know, when the balance tips to completely avoiding how you're feeling or not giving yourself time, then it becomes unhealthy.
Yes, yeah, of course, because you need space to feel those emotions in order to heal those emotions.
That's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess not allowing yourself that space and time to do that and to kind of go through that process of that can certainly create a lot more difficulties down the line. I think for me, I ended up like comfort eating. So I was always at the drive-thru.
That's a good one, isn't it? Chocolate, you know.
All the foods.
Chocolate and pizza and just all that stuff.
Completely ballooned. It was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just because you get that hit, you know that.
You keep chasing it as well.
Yeah. That it's like self-soothing through nice food through your tummy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, perhaps I could ask you to introduce some thoughts on self-care, which next.
I mean, that ties in quite nicely to us. You know, we mentioned having to give ourselves time to. I mean, it's almost like grieving in a way, isn't it? For something when you leave a relationship, I think it is definitely a form of grief. So, giving yourself that time and space can be really, really difficult. You know, confronting the difficult feelings is the worst sometimes, isn't it? And
so we're not conditioned to endure
we're not, no.
Emotional pain, because it's completely different from physical pain.
It's so different, isn't it? So I think giving yourself the time to put yourself first, to address what your needs are, being kind to yourself, just remembering. You can sometimes get lost in a relationship, can't you? You get so sort of stuck in what you are as a couple that you kind of forget what makes you you. So I think taking that time out to remember what your passions are, to give yourself time to feel the difficult emotions. I mean, what do you think about self-care after a breakup?
I think if I could go back to my younger self and give my younger self one piece of advice, it would be very much to allow yourself time to feel it. So obviously, no, not obviously, sorry, growing up, I was conditioned by my environment to not show feelings, emotions, and that's still quite a difficult concept for me to get my head around, I guess, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think it is for a lot of people. You know, I can certainly relate to that when you've got a million things to get on with and you're hurting inside, but you can't show it.
Exactly. And so and yeah, you can't show it. So if I could go back to my younger version, I'd probably say, Jamie, take like 5 minutes out of your day, in your room, and just shout into a pillow, or get into your car and go for a drive and shout at the steering wheel or something, just to get it out.
Or have a cry,
Sure. Yeah. Depending on what stage you're at in the grieving process
this
of the relation, which we'll cover in another video.
this
maybe
goes deep, doesn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, there's some quite important and valuable bits there. Thank you so much. Perhaps I can get you to talk a little bit about communicating.
I think that kind of goes hand in hand with self-care as well, because, and avoidance, I mean, it's all kind of tied into each other. Like, speaking about the breakup or the way you're feeling can be like climbing a mountain, I think, afterwards. I've always found it really hard just to say the words to someone, or like part of my avoiding everything would be not seeing the people I care about, because I know that to them I'm going to have to say these things because I can't hide it, So actually...
Or if you have a mutual circle, sorry, I don't mean to deride what you said. I mean, or if you have a mutual group of friends that you are both friends with as well, and you have to tell them.
That's difficult. That's really difficult.
Yeah.
So just communicating. I think finding safe spaces to communicate. And if you can't talk about it, just having like a little journal, and you can write down nonsense. I used to do that a lot. Just write down words. They don't even have to make much sense. You don't have to read them again, but just feeling that transfer of what's going on in my head, putting it somewhere so you don't have to carry it around. It doesn't seem like it is that effective, but actually it's huge. It really, really helps me sometimes, and I'm guessing that you get a similar thing from writing.
Absolutely. I think I spoke about it with you guys in a few videos, that idea of what Wolfmumma was talking about with journaling and writing down thoughts, feelings and emotions. I've done that a few times, just writing a stream of consciousness, and almost like making a list of to-do things. It becomes a lot more tangible, manageable, dealable. What I often have done with these stream of consciousness writings and ramblings, I've just written it down, almost without really focusing on the paper, and then looked at it afterwards and tore it up and thrown it away. And
that's great. That's super cathartic, isn't it? And in a way, you're almost giving yourself closure, I think, because that's obviously a difficult thing with a breakup. Maybe you don't feel like you had closure, but something like that, I think, is awesome to do.
And do you know what? An episode on closure would be so good as well.
Yeah, that's a massive one, isn't it? Because it's very, very hard to move on when you feel like you've not quite managed to get the closure.
Absolutely. Guys, please let us know in the comments if you would like a video on closure as well.
That'd be cool.
That would be very cool. Sorry, I interrupted you when you were saying something then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about, ripping up what you were writing, finding ways for yourself, finding strategies that work for you, to deal with your emotions. Like, if you can't communicate with a friend, write it down. Even, there's helpful phone numbers, Samaritans, things like that you can call, and sometimes all you need is an ear, someone to listen to you. You don't need solutions, you don't need advice, you just need to be able to say the words to someone.
That's right. Completely with you, 100% with that, Wolfmumma. And guys, I'll be sure to link in the description box below the worldwide helpline and the Samaritans phone numbers, because they're there to hear you. Sometimes just talking it out can help things de-escalate just a little bit in your head and in your life. And it's a valuable resource that's often underused, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Especially when you're feeling at crisis point as well, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's well worth doing.
Yeah, completely. Some really valid points there. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's good to see you about the journaling thing as well.
I mean, I do that with my drawings in a way, you know. I have drawn something that I've been feeling and then ripped it up. You know, that's the best one.
Yeah. Okay. Focusing on the future is the final topic of this video. Now, you might be in a very painful place watching this video right now, and from my heart to yours, from our hearts to yours, we know what that is like. It is also worth remembering that you had a life before the relationship, so it's not logical or irrational to imagine that you can have a life after the relationship once again. And hindsight is 20/20, as they say, but if I could go back to younger me, I would say take advantage of planning for the future whilst I was wasting time ruminating on what could have been in a relationship that had ended. So if you have some breathing space in your time, especially if you're in that difficult place right now, please take some time to focus on what your goals are, what your values are, what your virtues are, what your beliefs are, because these will condition you to be better equipped if, say, one day you wish to meet a partner when you are emotionally, mentally ready to. The future is exciting and it is scary, but it is yours for the making. Now is the time for you to focus on your business, on that holiday, on spending time with a circle of friends who mean a lot to you and who you mean a lot to them, to start performing music, to start making art, to start expressing yourself how you wish to take a chance and try something new. You have space in your life to grow. You have so much space in your life to grow. Wolfmumma, do you have any thoughts you might want to chime in on?
I mean, just echoing what you said, it is an opportunity to put yourself first, and to give yourself time to heal and to grow and to connect again with people that are important to you. So focusing on the future, focusing on new opportunities is worth doing, for sure.
Please let us know how your day is going. Please let us know if this video brings you any value by simply hitting the like button. It's great. If you want any more, just interact. Obviously, we'll link all of the usual social networks below. We'll also link Wolfmumma's Instagram page, Big Catch Hell, where you can get some pretty awesome threads like these from, Are these stocked in?
They're not. No,
Oh.
that might have been the last one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh well. There's other stuff in your store. Okay.
Some stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a good day, good rest, a good week, and we'll see you in the next video.